Hey, welcome to the Outpost. This evening we're going to be playing a solo player game of Tiny Dungeons. I have a one player, and also we're trying out another video conference deal called Jitsi, Jitsi, just to see how it works with somebody like low bandwidth. But we'll try it and see. The name of this adventure is called Sweet and Sour. It's based on a adventure by Elvin Tower. You can find him on Patreon, and I believe he has a website. I can put the links in there later. But this is based on an adventure that he gave out to the Patreons that I'm part of. But as we start our adventure, we find our solo hero as he is approaching the very large city of Silvergate. It's a very large walled city that probably has several 100,000 people that live there. And as you enter the city and get close to the city, Jan, tell me about who you're going to play and maybe his reason for bringing himself to the city.
Well, I'm going to be playing Sir Hubert Pierpont Thaco. Most people call him just HP Thaco. Sir Thaco is a rough-looking individual. He's well armored. He wields a longsword and a shield, and evidently he has a black cape behind him. So you see him as a classic hero, well armored, knight-like hero, and he's entering the town hopefully to find some gold and some wealth so that he could continue on his way to glory and fame.
All right, perfect. As HP enters the large city and goes through the entrance gate, he starts noticing these posters posted up around on different bulletin boards and everything. It appears to be some type of official type poster. It says, "Sell swords wounded. Help the common folk. Prove your worth to the crown. Reward 500 gold coins or a royal pardon." And below that it says, "See the city watch commander, Sir Joff Hewlin."
Joff Hewlin. All right. Well, I suppose I'll seek him out then. And he continues on his way. Help the common
You
folk. Just
you
sounds
you
just like something
proceed on
that I
into
would
the
do.
city.
Yep.
You proceed on into the city there, and you see it's a very busy day as you arrive, probably midday, and you probably see some of the city watch guards that are moving up and down, and you keep seeing these posters posted up almost every street corner has one. And as you maneuver on into the city and get to the governmental building section, you see a large deal, an office that says City Watch, and you see a bunch of city guards that are coming in and out of it.
Hmm. This looks like the place then. He enters the premise.
You make your way in, and there's he appears to be 18 or 19, probably very young, probably brand new to the City Watch, sitting behind a desk, a young human male, and he looks up and says, "Yes, yes, may someone help you here, sir?"
Hey there, fella. I saw the sign outside. Help the common folk and prove my worth, it says. Well, that's why I'm here, fella. And he slams his hand on the table and peers in. But he's wearing a full face mask, so you actually don't see his face. Not a mask, but a full helm.
All right.
Yep.
As you say that, you see another gentleman walk out from kind of behind there, maybe out of a hallway, and he's dressed in a chainmail and a long sword at his side, and he appears to probably be a veteran too. And he says, "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation there with young Charles. I am Sir Joff Hewlin. I am the city watch commander. Understand that you're interested in the posters that we have up about the cell swords needed."
Yes, sir, that's why I'm here. I read your name earlier on one of those posters.
Well, let me explain to you what the problem is in Silvergate currently. Oh, I guess it was been about 6 months ago that this all started. We've had about 60 people come up missing in the past 60 months from the city. They've all been various ages, from young children up into some of our older population, but um, all ages, all backgrounds, from the beggars on the street up until we actually had one of the local magistrates, one of his family members that was come up missing. But we've had to put a curfew on the city at night, and I've increased the guards, but it's made no difference and no effect. Recently, though, we have seen what we think is some type of cult, and the cultists that are taking these people down into the sewers below the city. Of course, the sewers are very vast, and I can show you a map of them, but we think the best we can figure out that they're kidnapping these people and taking them in the sewer below and taking them out on over to the sea to be sold in foreign slave markets. That's the best we can figure out, but we aren't able to catch any of them. They're very crafty and very seem to get away from us. But that's why we're hiring anybody else that can help. And if you can capture some of the cultists or put an end to the issue, we would hope to at least reward you with the 500 gold pieces or a royal pardon if there's something you need pardon for.
Well, Sir Joff, you got yourself a man. I'm gonna go down there and put an end to this nonsense. 60 people in 60 days, it's unacceptable. I'm gonna go down there and find out who is behind it and put my sword through his chest.
Well, you sound like you have more determination than a lot of the city watchmen that I have hired here. I hope it works out for you. But yes, let me show you this map and give you an idea of the layout of the sewer system. And he takes you into the office and shows you this very large wall map. It is just vast, a vast sewer system. And he says, well, you can probably see now and understand that why maybe if it is some type of cult, how they're able to slink in and out and sneak and capture somebody without being noticed.
Yeah, it looks definitely more complex than I first thought. I thought it'd be just a little hole in the ground and I'll be able to follow my way through, but it may take a little bit of time or some thought. And he, taps on his own helm. You still don't see his face.
The best thing I would suggest, like I say, most of these are taking place during the night hours, and that's why we have set the curfew. But of course, everyone's not going to listen to the curfew. They're going to, come out as they want. And of course, you have the street, the unsavory characters, let's put it that way, that are going to do what they want to at any time of day or night. But my suggestion would be maybe set up at patrol the streets at night and hopefully maybe observe one of these cultists and maybe catch them before they get down too far deep in the sewer.
So, is there a entrance into the sewer that you've found some signs of kidnapping?
Well, the most recent sighting of someone disappearing into the sewer, and he points out a place on the map. He'll show you, and this has been the most recent occurrence. And then you start seeing on another map that he has these different pinpoints of the various disappearances, and well, as you can see, they've been pretty much everywhere, but kind of the last few have been in this area here.
He nods and says, I'll set up a little outpost there and find out if I can follow whoever goes through this entrance. And he nods. I'm ready to go then.
Yeah, and he offers if you need any type of gear or anything, he would offer any gear, food, drinks, anything that you would need.
Well, Sir Joff, I'm a seasoned adventurer. I carry everything that I need right here. And he points to his backpack. And, he has it slung over his shoulder. It looks pretty hefty, but you feel like there's a grappling hook, some ropes, and he probably has some rations and other, metal spikes and torches in there. And he holds it up a little bit and says, "I think I'll do just fine, sir."
Well, as I can observe, I'm sure you are a very rugged and veteran warrior, much like myself. I'm sure you will. Whatever you find, just report back here, and the on duty sergeant will have me roused up as soon as possible if you are able to locate any of the nefarious culprits.
You got it, sir. You got it. Or my name isn't. No, no. Actually, I said it wrong. Let me do it again. You got it, sir. You got it, sir. I will get the job done. Or my name isn't Sir H.P. Thaco. Uh huh. Nods to himself.
Yeah, and you set out the rest of the day. You can do whatever you want to in the city, and if you stop or hear conversations or stop and ask any people, you hear basically the same story. That in the past 6 months, that it appears that 60 of the local citizens have just come up missing, and then recently there's been some sightings of what appear to be some type of cult members that are wearing these robes covering their faces and their bodies, and that they're coming out at night and snatching people and taking them into the sewers. So you pretty much hear the same stories that the watch commander told you.
Yep. So he goes to the place that serves the most, tastiest delicacy of the town. Orders himself a large hot plate of something, and sits down and fills his stomach before he sets out.
You do. You're able to get an excellent meal at one of the local establishments, and you hear the same type of talk, of course, in it. And as nightfall gets there, you start seeing a lot of the streets. Even like I say, this is a very large city, but you start seeing a lot of the streets abandoned out and become sparse with fewer people on it, and you see more of the city watch themselves moving along, and you can hear them telling the people 30 minutes to curfew, 30 minutes to curfew. You need to be behind your closed doors. Everyone off the street.
Yep. He situates himself about, I don't know, 30 yards away from the entrance where the commander pointed out. He probably has a copy of the map too.
Yeah,
I
he
think
would have gave you like a very general small map. Exactly.
Yep. And he figures out where that entrance would be, situates himself about 30 feet, 30 yards away from it, and keeps his eyes open. And he's staying alert. He's probably crouched down in a corner like a beggar or something, but he's already keeping an eye on the entrance.
Yep, you're able to do that, and the first hour or two goes by, fairly smooth. You see a few, like I say, you would know probably be the nefarious people of the town that are doing their midnight rendezvous and things that they are doing or looking or whatever. And a little bit later, as it becomes later in the night, you see a character that is moving around. In just a minute, I'll show you a picture of him. You see this robed figure that is moving down the street there, and it's got like this dark black to even make it hide even more as it's moving down the street, kind of very slinking around, and it's got the hood pulled up around its face and stuff.
Did she come out of the sewer, or
No, you didn't see where they come from. It just like they just appeared there almost out of thin air in a way.
how many are
And
there?
they're very stealthily walking along.
How many are there? Just
Just the
one?
one is all you see. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Thaco's gonna basically follow her, give her about 15 yards.
Yeah. You're able to follow, and you don't think that this person has noticed you at all. They're slinking along, and you follow them down. They kind of cut down some little side alleys into the dark, and then appear along. You can definitely tell the way they're moving. They're trying to stay hidden, or the best they can. And about that time, it appears like maybe a street over, or whatever. You hear a scream come out and a yell, and no, no, it's my brother. And it comes like from probably a street over, you would think.
What is that person that I'm following doing?
You see them stop and just kind of almost in mid stride, they stop and you kind of hear them mutter under their breath and they go, "They've got one, I think." And you see them take off running back down another side alley.
Okay, I'm giving him a chase.
Yeah, you are able to follow her, and they still don't notice you as you're coming behind them, and you see them. They come out on another street, probably like I say, probably a street over. Where you hear the yelling, and you see a figure going down into the sewer. One of the man covers has been removed from the street, and you see a figure pulling what appears to be probably a young girl down into the sewers itself, and you see a boy that is sitting there on the sidewalk bawling and squalling. And you see this person that you are chasing, you see them take off running past the boy and running into the sewer to the top of the manhole cover also to go into the system.
Okay, I'm gonna give a chase, and go into the sewer system as well. But basically, as I do so, I'm gonna draw my sword out and get my shield ready, and essentially engage him if I can.
Yeah, when you get closer, you oh man, you look up and the one that's kind of already down into the system, you can hear it's a male voice, and you hear it go, "You've been trailed. Hurry up!" And you can see them just stealthily fall down into the sewer system as you're approaching it. The boy that's sitting on the side of the street that's kind of crying, and he appears to be okay as you run past him. You just continue past him.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue past him.
That's fine. And you get to the cover, and the cover's been left open, and you see there's of course a ladder leading down, and it appears pretty dark from what you can see down there.
Yeah, he's gonna light up his torch. He's gonna stow back his shield and light up his torch.
Yeah, and of course you can hear the sounds of like dripping water, and it starts here feeling start the smell of the sewer system itself as you make your way down. You put your torch, and as you get down the ladder, you look both ways. You don't see any of these figures or the girls at all. It appears they've just disappeared into the dark
I try to
of the
be ultra.
sewers.
I try to be ultra quiet to find out if I could make out a sound.
Yeah, roll me 2d6 unless you have something that would give you some kind of a perception deal.
I got 1 and 5. I believe 5 is a
Yeah, five
success.
will work then. So five is success. So you hear back what you would think back towards your north direction. You hear probably a footfall, a footstep. Maybe it stepped on some loose raw gravel or loose whatever, and you can hear that's probably the direction they went. You think?
Yet he hastens himself and runs after them.
Yeah, you maneuver that way, and you maybe stop every few and listen, to hear. You don't hear anything else as you get on up there, and you continue on that way. Um, Everything seems to be quiet, and you maneuver along, and for quite some ways, really. And
He's
roll me
gonna
another
stop.
2d6.
Okay, I got 2 and 4, so he doesn't hear anything.
No, you don't hear anything, and nothing appears to be. There's everything appears in this area right here to be in order.
All right, he's gonna actually make way his back, out of that manhole cover to the street to check on that little boy.
Yeah, you go back to where you entered the system itself, and when you climb up, you see the boy is gone. He's not there, and the street appears to be empty and abandoned now.
Oh no. Okay, he's gonna get back down. And
Yeah, you go back into the system, and you just hear the normal, maybe some rats, little rats squeaking and off in the distance, and maybe some of the water drips and things like that. But you don't hear anything else at this point.
he continues on up north where he was following that trail, and um, he's going to continue on, but this time he'll continue on very cautiously instead of running through it and making all that clattery noise. Um, if he puts out the light, is he able to see anything at all?
No, it is very, very dark in the system itself. You would definitely have to have some type of light source.
Yep, he keeps it on and he continues forward.
Yeah, you continue forward, and you think you've been. It seems like you've been down here for hours, of course, as you're moving along and continuing. But you come around a corner, and you see as you come around a bend in a corner there in the sewer system, something catches your eye. It appears that maybe like along part of the stone wall and stuff, it seems like it's shifted or something. It just don't look right. It definitely
He's,
is observant to you.
he stops and investigates. He goes close to it and peers around that particular area.
Yeah, as you do, you can see it appears to be some type of doorway. If you push it in a little bit further, it appears to be a doorway, and you see these steps that are leading down.
Yeah, he carefully pushes it aside and closes it back up again after he goes through it and goes down the stairs. But as he does so, he's shining light on the floor itself to see whether if there's any pitfalls or switches. Basically, he's checking for trap as he goes.
Yeah, do you have a copy of that map by chance or not?
I do.
Okay, good. Yeah, you follow those stairs down, and you can definitely see there's been quite a bit of foot traffic. But it's not dusty or they're not covered in any layers of anything. It's very a musty smell, but you can tell there's been quite a bit of foot traffic in and out of here lately. You follow those stairs down probably a good 40 feet, and you come out into the number one room where you're looking at, and you see, it's probably pretty wide 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60, 40 by 60 room. And let me tell you exactly what you're going to see. You find a stretch of stairs that descend into the beginning of this lair. A large brazier in the center of the room is burning very brightly, lighting up the whole room. You see a carved stone effigy of what appears to be like a large ant that is decorating the eastern wall. And you also notice that it appears to be doorways going north and a doorway to the south.
He will approach the brazier and see what's burning.
Yeah, it appears that they've got some type it appears to be a combination of wood and maybe like these different coals and different stones of something. You would think that whatever it is, it's probably to induce it and make it last longer. But it's definitely giving enough light in this whole room to light up this area.
Cool. Yeah, he puts out his torch and puts that away, grabs his shield, and uses the shield to shovel out one piece of coal or something.
Yeah, you can pick it up. Of course, it's pretty hot and warm. I mean, it's not, but you're able to do that if you would like.
Yeah, he shovels it out and puts it on the floor to examine it just for a second to see whether if it's like an ordinary coal or something magical.
Yeah, roll. It'd be disadvantage unless you have something that would give you something to do with magical inspection or whatever. Just 1d6.
I got 3. He has no idea.
Yeah, you think it's just some type of normal coal that people use in to keep fires burning.
Okay. He kicks it, but he doesn't kicks it across the room or something. But he kind of plays soccer with it and brings it closer to the effigy of the ant.
Yeah, nothing changes. The stone effigy of this very large ant just is decorated on the eastern wall, and nothing else happens as you're doing that. You
He
don't hear any
pulls out his
noises or any voices at all. I mean, everything seems to be fairly quiet in this room.
Yeah, he looks around, and if nothing's around, he pulls out his sword and taps the effigy to see whether if it hides any switches or anything strange.
Nope, nothing happens at all.
Okay. Now he's gonna kick that burning coal. Did the fire go out, or is it still bright?
Yeah, eventually the piece of coal eventually smolders out on its own.
Okay. Yeah, he just steps on it and moves over to the northern door.
All right. It's a very large doorway. You would think that is closed. And you can definitely tell that there's been foot traffic going up to it also.
Is there a door handle?
Yep, there is a handle leading up to it.
He removes his helmet, and as he does so, you see a tan man with a really messy hair. But he doesn't look to be, particularly ugly or particularly handsome. He's just the average Joe. He's got some, you know, scruffy beard that's growing. It looks like he hasn't shaved for about 15 days or so. But he puts his ear right next to the wall to hear what's behind it.
Yeah, as you do that, the first thing you do is instead of hearing something, you get a smell, a waft of smell that comes across, and it's very sweet, a very sweet smell that appears to be coming from in this room. You would think just different spices, maybe, and maybe honey and stuff, but it just a very strong smell of sweetness. But you do hear a little bit of noise, like maybe there's something in there as far as this doing something. You can hear maybe something moving around, or they're doing some type of work or something. It's not a very loud, but I mean it's enough that you can sit there and listen and hear it.
Okay. He puts back his uh, helmet back on and turns the door handle, but he doesn't open it yet. He just turns it to see if it actually turns.
Yeah, you turn the door handle, and it will. It's not locked. It appears it would open straight up.
Okay. Is it like push in or pull?
Yeah, you'll have to push it in, right?
Okay. As he does so, he cracks it open and peers in.
When you
Is he able
peer
to?
in, this is what you will see in the room. You see like these three very large, probably 3 or 4 foot tall, these clay vases that have wooden lids on top of them. Um, and you definitely get the smell of all of this, maybe spices, different various spices, and this honey and stuff. But what you also see that jumps up and runs straight towards you, and hearing you open the door, is another one of these robed cultists, and you can tell this is a probably a male, and he's got this very sharp-looking dagger that appears to be something dripping from it. So we will roll initiative. That's 2d6 and add them together.
Ooh, that's no good. 4.
He had a 7, so he kind of catches you off guard and runs straight towards you with this dagger. And he says, "There will be no survivors. You cannot tell them." And he will hit you with the dagger, and you'll take 1 point of damage.
Yikes.
And
Um,
he will try to strike at you with the dagger again as he's right on
how
top of you.
how does that work with the armor? Um, it's supposed to be the three points from the armor is supposed to come out first.
Yeah, it's just it'd be like temporary HP with because you're
Okay,
using what was it called again? What's the trait?
it's called armor master.
Let me find it and read it real quick.
It's quite, probably
Yeah, it'd be like like temporary HP would be in 5e. Just keep them 3 points different from your main. And they go first.
okay. All right, excellent.
And then once they're gone, you'd have to repair your armor in a day's time to use them again.
Yep.
But yeah, he stabbed at you the second time and misses you the second time, so it is up to you.
Awesome.
And you see, he just has a vengeful, just hatred look on his face. You can tell that he's in it for the fight.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around. He just pulls out his sword and stabs at him and says, "You don't know what you're messing with, mister." And that's a 6 out of 3d6. I roll 1, 6, and 3. So
All
that's a
right,
success.
roll a d6 for damage. We'll do it 1 through 3. It does 1 point of damage, and a 4 through 6 will do 2 points.
Awesome. So he goes, ha! And he does 1 point of damage.
Yeah, you strike into him, and you hear him cough and yell out as he probably wasn't expecting that at all from anybody. So you get one more action.
Okay. He's going to try to pin him, stab through and pin him against the wall or something. Here we go. Yeah, that's another 6.
Yeah, I'm going to give. He's going to try to resist. So I'm going to see. I'll give him a disadvantage to try to resist and pull away from you. And he's not going to make it at that. So you've got him kind of pinned up against the wall.
Okay. Yeah, so he probably stabbed him through the shoulder or something like that where it's not lethal. And he's going to say, "All right, talk. Where are you taking all those kidnapped folks?"
And you see him look at you, and he opens his mouth, and you see this capsule doing his mouth, and he says, "You'll never know." And he bites down on it and slumps down in your arms.
Ah, damn it. Cultists. They always are too eager to die. Yeah, he lets him slump down, and he looks around to see whether if there are any more attackers in that room.
No, in this room, it appears probably about a 20 by 30 room. There's no other doorways, but on the eastern wall, it appears the wall is kind of caved in part of it, and it appears to be some type of tunnel leading into the dirt formation of it. But like I say, in this room itself, you notice these 3 very large clay vases that are standing there, like clay pots that are probably 3, 4 foot tall themselves with these wood lids on them. And if you look to where he come from, it appears that he was in a corner, and you see one of these clay pots that are laid down, and it appears like he was doing something to it, like cleaning it or doing something to it is what he was doing when you come in and caught him.
Yeah, he goes over there to investigate what's in that urn.
Yeah,
The
it
pot.
is a. You smell the strong sense of honey, sugar, and spices coming from it, and you can see it's sticky and stuff. It appears he was probably cleaning it somehow.
Okay. He goes over to the other ones and opens them up too.
When you open the 3 standing ones, they all are completely filled almost to the top with this mixture of this very sticky, sweet smelling mixture of what you would think is some type of honey and sugar substances and these different spices. I mean, it's just kind of thick. And of course, you start seeing some buckets and some ladles that are set around. It appears that they would probably use to ladle from the large vases into these smaller buckets.
Okay. Well, he ignores them and he takes out his small dagger and goes over to that man who bit down on the capsule. And he puts in the dagger into that man's mouth, basically trying to get some poison on the tip of his dagger. And as he, after doing that, he sheathes it back into its holster.
Yeah, we'll say you're able to get enough of a small portion of it, you would think. You don't know exactly what it would do, but you're able to get a small portion probably on the blade.
Yep, just in case. Um,
And like I say,
you'll
there's no actual doors that appear to be leading out of here. You see like this collapsed side on the east. It appears to be a lot of the stone wall is falling down and appears to go into more of the earth formation itself, or you can, of course, go back the way you come.
Yeah, he's going to go through that earth formation, the collapsed wall.
Yeah, you enter what appears to be a very chamber in these tunnels, and you can definitely tell that it's just rough soil and rock and dirt and stuff. And it appears that these tunnels have been dug by some type of animal or some type of creature as you move in towards them. Um, You move along east, probably 10, 20 feet in. You see there's what appears to be the cavern, and it's kind of dark in here. There's like some natural light, but it's not as light as it was, of course, in the rooms themselves. But you can continue to go east, or you can go up to the north.
He's gonna go up north, but before he does so, because it's so dark in there, he's gonna go back into that little kitchen area to see if there's a lantern or something that's burning to light his torch.
Yeah, you're able to find something in the honey room, the honey pot room, to get your torch lit.
Yep. He's gonna go back into that little dark chamber then, and yeah, he stands in the mouth of that chamber and looks around.
Yeah, you continue kind of where it opens up to the north there, and as you do, you see six figures that are lying on the ground. And they all appear to be bound, their hands, their legs, their arms bound in some type of gag across their mouths. And they all appear to be in various states of mistreatment and stuff. I mean, some of them I mean, they appear to all be alive, but some of them are not moving much, and you hear just a grunts go.
Yeah, he rushes over to the man or a woman that's making that noise and cuts the gag so that he or she could talk.
Yeah, it's an older man, you would think, and by the clothing he's wearing, you would think he's probably, probably a businessman or something, a well-off businessman. And when you cut the gag, he goes, "Oh, thank you. You've got to get us out of here before they come back. Whew. They, they take us one out of here at a time, and we never come back. Oh, please, show us, get us out of here.
All right, what's your name, buddy?
I am Bozic, Bozic the West. I'm
All
a
right,
local
Bozic.
businessman."
Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut you loose, and you cut these other folks loose too. All right? And then
Yes,
he
yes.
hands him, another dagger that he was carrying, and he just hands it over to him.
Yeah, and he starts, taking the binds, the arm and leg bindings, and pulling the mouth gags off of them,
Nice.
and basically talking with them. They all tell you, of course, that they're from Silvergate, and they tell you the same stories. That some dark figured robed figure grabbed them and put something on their face and appeared to like a sleeping deal and knocked them out. And next thing they know, they woke up down here in this room. And they say that some of these dark robed cultists will come every few days and take one of them, and the person they take never comes back.
Well, fellas, listen. There's one of those cultists that I just slew in that room over there. If you go there and take the door south, you'll come across a little stairway. If you go up there, eventually you'll be able to find your way out of here through the sewers. You want to do that, or you want to follow me and take out whoever's behind us?
Most of them just stare at you and we'll go tell the city watch. We'll go tell. And the businessman Bostic, he looks at you and says, "Yes, I have a good friend, a lieutenant on the city watch. I will go get you some help as soon as I can. Be safe. I don't know how many there are, but sometimes we'll see maybe three or four of them in a group. But I have no idea how many of them are down here."
Right. Well, the chamber behind us was clear. As far as I'm concerned, I didn't see anybody down there. So, all right, then you guys are free to go.
And they do. They all leave immediately. The Bostic, tells you as soon as he gets out, he will definitely find someone to get you some help down here. And of course, you can continue on east. You see the natural formation that's dug out. You can continue east, or of course, you can go back where you came from and entered.
He's actually going to continue to go down, down through that, strangely dug cavern.
Yeah, you follow it around. It goes east, and then it kind of goes back north and northeast a little bit, and then makes a very wide bend. It seems to go almost due south as you continue along for quite some ways. As you do, you come into a very larger entrance, a very large opening. Um, you
As he
see,
does,
I'll go ahead.
yeah, as he does so, he's gonna toss his uh, torch into the middle of the room to have a
When it
better
opens,
look.
when it kind of opens up into the larger area.
Yeah,
Yeah, and as you do, you the first thing you see is it seems to be these all this growth of all this different fungus and things are in this part of the cavern, and just like a natural growth of all these various type of fungi that are growing there.
uh-oh. Oh boy. He, as I mentioned before, he wears a large, a cape draped behind him. He's gonna, put that cape around his, helm to restrict the airflow into his, uh, you know, basically to restrict the amount of spore that would enter his helm.
Yeah, you can do that.
And yep, and he's gonna carefully tread into the room.
Yeah, and you don't hear or see anything else. It just appears that this is some type of natural, big opening of some type of natural growth of these fungi that appears just to be all natural. Um, as you make your way a little bit closer to the southern portion of this larger cavern, you can see there's a passageway. It goes to east, but you can see it's collapsed, and it appears that there's nothing going on further east, or you can continue south.
Yeah, he's gonna be very careful not to disturb any of these mushrooms or fungi and continue on south. By the way,
You
he's
can
gonna pick up the torch though.
Yeah, it's still lit. And you continue south, would you think maybe another 20 or 30 feet? And as it does, you kind of like when you enter this from the room above, it appears that, this tunnel has dug out a bunch, you start seeing a bunch of more rock and stone, and it appears it's dug out into a room itself. And this is a very large room, probably 60 by 40 or so, you would think in all. And this is what you will see in this room. You see a bunch of crude drawings in different, almost like ruins or illegible type of writing on the walls and in the ceiling and all this as you enter this. You see a lot of collapsed. The On the eastern wall, you see part of the cavern itself is collapsed into this room where there's a lot of large stones and stuff. But it appears that it continues on further south, where you also notice appears a stairway going back to the west from this room. But that's all you see is this real strange writing and all these crude drawings that are just everywhere on the walls. And like I say, some of them are up on the ceilings.
What do the drawings depict?
Several different things. You see like a lot of these large ants, kind of like the effigy. It was in the main room when you come in. You see all these large ants, and then you see a lot of what appears to be these humanoid figures that are kind of look like they're taking and maybe serving drink and food to these large ants and stuff. But when I say humanoid, I mean they appear to be humans, but they in these crude drawings, it's hard to tell, but it appears they have like growths or something on their bodies and stuff. They appear maybe some malady or something. You have no idea what's caused it.
Ants and sweets. What's going on in here? Are they trying to grow some ants? Uh, and he goes back to the pathway leading west.
Yeah, where it kind of goes down a stairwell. You probably go 10, 15 feet down. Appears to be stairs, and that makes a very sharp curve, and the hallway itself goes back down to the south, and you can see as you go down those stairs appears to be a door ahead of you that's closed.
He's going to put his head right next to the door to see if he could hear anything coming from the other the other side of that door.
Yeah, and you don't even have to roll to hear this. You can hear a human voice in there, a very deep, gruff voice, and he seems to be chastising. You would probably think other people. He's in there. uh, Well, you idiots! I've told you to be more careful. You cannot. Somebody trailed you through the alleys, but you say you've lost them before the kid was kidnapped. So good, good. At least he won't. Well, he'll be lost in the sewers. No one's ever going to find us down here. But you idiots have got to be more careful with. We're gonna take care of the Grand Master and continue to worship the Grand Master. You've got to be more careful. This is just uncalled for. You sloppiness is what I call it. And you can hear this guy just go on and on as he's chastising somebody. You would think.
Okay, as he does so, he's gonna observe the door to see whether if it opens by pulling or pushing.
Yeah, you would see this door would also you would think would push in. There's pretty much the same typical door that you came to before. You'd think you'd have to push it in to go enter.
Okay, he's gonna turn the doorknob very slowly, but he won't open it. And
Yeah, you don't hear anything. I mean, you just hear the guy in there, the gruff voice again, but the doorknob opens or pushes in pretty much like the other one.
okay, and he's gonna get back like 5 paces, and he's gonna run towards it and kick the door open and scream "Wah!" as he enters the
All
door.
right. You enter the door, and this is what you see in this room. You can see that the room is kind of a weird shape. That it's in some areas it's not quite as wide. Maybe it's 30 feet across in width, and in other areas it appears to go, a good 60 or 70 feet wide, and you'd think it's probably a good 60, 70 feet in length. But this is what you see in this room. You see a statue along the south wall that depicts a very large, four-eyed ant that has these barbed horns and several fleshy tentacles that are coming out of it. You also see a human male, and it's kind of very large, kind of like you, but he's wearing a robe, pretty much like the other robes. But you can see him turn and look at you, and you see in front of him that he was addressing three other of these cultists that are in front of him. As he sees you burst in, he looks and he goes, "Prove your worth. Kill him now." And you see him taking off, running towards the south wall of where this very large um, statue is. You see him running towards it. The three cultists pull out these sharp-looking daggers, and they start coming towards you. So we'll roll initiative.
Oh, brother. 5.
You beat them. They only had a 4.
Nice.
So you get to go first as these three figures start moving. You can tell there's a female, probably the female you saw, and the other two are males. They all appear, but you see their faces through the robes. You would appear they're probably all in their early to mid-20s, you would think.
Okay, well, he's going to quickly take out that dagger that he stowed earlier after dipping into that man's mouth. And he's going to throw it at quickly throw it at the closest one that's charging towards
All
him.
right. Perfect.
Is it 2d6?
Yeah, that'll be...
6 and a 3. That's a hit.
Yeah, it hits them, and then roll for damage.
Let's see. And that's 2 points of damage.
And also, I'll tell you what, I'll make a kind of like a save for him. Okay. You see the dagger strike into one of the young men, and as it does, you hear him go as he coughs up and coughs out, and he falls to the ground and appears to be dead.
Ooh.
You don't know if it's maybe the poison helped or whatever, but he falls to the ground. The other two are keep moving towards you, the one female and the other male.
He's gonna body check the male, and as he does so, slash at him with a sword.
All right.
And that's 3, 4, and 5. So 5 is a success.
Yep, and roll for damage on him.
6.
2 points?
Yep.
He falls to the ground and appears to be dead.
Ooh, wow. And he just stands there and yells at the woman, "Drop your dagger, or you're gonna join these two."
She looks at you probably in a frightened manner, seeing how you've dispatched the other two so quickly, but she doesn't say anything as she lunges towards you with the dagger. And she's going to hit you with the dagger. So, 1 point of damage with the dagger. She strikes into you.
Oops. Okay. Gotcha.
And then, as you maybe jump back, stumble from her jumping into you and attacking you, she sees what a formidable opponent you probably are going to be. You see her take the dagger up to her throat and slash her throat open and fall to the ground.
Ah, these cultists. They're always so ready to kill themselves. What a waste.
The leader, what you would probably think would be the leader, or one of the leaders that run to the south where that big statue is, you don't see him. He is out of your sight. You have no idea if he's hiding somewhere or what happened to him.
He's gonna run to that direction.
Yeah, and once you get closer, you see it. It's a very large statue. It probably covers 10 feet with these stone tentacles that are coming out of this very large, four-eyed, barbed horn ant and stuff. You don't see the cult leader anywhere. He does. He appears that he just almost seems to you disappeared in thin air.
Uh, he couldn't have just disappeared unless he's one of those magicians. There's got to be a secret way. He's gonna approach that statue and look around it, search around it.
Yeah, roll me a 2d6 then.
Oh, brother, 2 and 1, so both.
Yeah, you don't find anything that appears to be out of place or anything at all that would indicate any other way out of this room. Then
He's gonna grab his sword and tap at one of those tentacles.
nothing happens. It's very it's like I say. You would think whoever made this is it was well made. I mean, it's just a very made pretty much all out of stone, but nothing happens.
Uh, he's gonna search the bodies of the cultists that he slew.
Yeah, and you also notice in this room that it has these braziers and different torches that are lighting up the room. There's pretty much well lit. You search the bodies of the cultists. They don't have anything on them. There's no money. They each had like that dagger they were carrying, and you don't find anything else on them. They're just bare. Their robes are bare.
All right. He's gonna look for the sign of the girl that he saw earlier. Is there any indication?
The one that was taken.
Yeah, the girl that was taken from the city.
No, you do not see her in this room at all, or anything. There's no one else is in this room. You don't hear any voices or anything either.
Yeah, he looks around the chamber. Is there any other way out of this room?
It appears that you of course, to go the way you come in, or it appears there's a hallway leading back up to the north.
Um, he's going to go back the way that he came.
All right, you go back down those stairs or up the stairs and make the curve around in the stairs and come back out there into the to the room where the all the artwork and drawings were, and you can appear like I say. There's a tunnel that appears to be made by some type of creature, whatever it appears to go to the south. Where of course you can go back the way you come up north.
He thinks about those sweet smelling jars a bit. How large were they?
Those large clay jars, they were pretty big. You would think you probably wouldn't be able to move it yourself. I mean, that's when you notice those buckets and things that that's probably when they scoop some in the buckets. Everything you would think they're probably pretty heavy. They were 3 or 4 foot tall.
Are there any? Were there like small containers around that place, or was that
Well,
the
there
only
was
container?
like some wooden buckets that you would think they probably pour some out of the clay jars into these buckets and carry them with the buckets.
Yeah, I mean, looking at all these ants and knowing what he knows about these, ants in general, he thinks, maybe there's gonna be some gigantic ants or something here. Who knows? And he's gonna hustle back to, he's gonna get back down to that chamber, and instead of you know, going up that stairs, he's gonna go north, back up to the hallway.
Also, you want to go back into the room with the cult leader and the cultist for, and then go that way.
Yeah, he's gonna go back to the chamber where he fought those cultists, but instead of lingering there, he's gonna go up north through that hallway, thinking that maybe that's gonna lead him back to the main chamber.
Yeah, you follow this hallway along, and it's not very wide. It's probably the maybe 5, 7 foot wide as you're moving along. And as you do, roll me a d6.
3.
You are surprised and are not able to get out of the way as you kind of hear a hissing sound as you step on one of these stone deals, and you can feel the pressure let out of it, and you hear this hissing coming out of these other walls on both sides as these flames just shoot out
Ah,
and scorch you. You'll take 2 points of damage. 2 points as these flames just come out from these different wall jets and strike into you.
oh, brother. That wouldn't be the armor damage, right? That would be the regular damage. Would
Now,
that
if you
heat?
still have some of the armor master left, it'd come off that.
Okay, all right. So that goes away, and okay, gotcha. Yeah, and he curses himself. It's like, ah, damn it, my armor. It's all charred and burnt.
Yep, it is dark armor now for sure. And you continue up probably another 30 feet and see a door, much like the other doors that you have encountered here, and it's closed.
Yep, he opens the door.
Yeah, and you're looking into the room of where you entered it. It has the large stairway that's going back up to the sewer system. You definitely recognize this area.
He says, ah, just as I suspected. I've been running around in circles. And he goes north into that kitchen area where he saw those sweet
Yep.
jars full of sweets. And he goes up there and takes a bucket full of these sweet nectar.
Yep, you're able to get you a bucket of it, no problem.
Okay.
The cultist body is still laying there. You notice that his dagger is gone. You'd probably think maybe one of the townspeople took it.
Yeah. Um, he's gonna check that cultist body for any additional pills or anything like that he could have swallowed earlier.
No, he's pretty much bare like the rest of them are. It appears they just have these robes and that they have a dagger for their protection, but everything else you don't find anything else on them.
Okay. And he's gonna carry that bucket then, and go back down. I mean, a circle around, uh, back to that, past that chamber with mushrooms, and head on over to that chamber, uh, which led him down to the place where he fought those cultists. So the chamber right before that.
Yeah, where all the writing was on the walls and the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, and you can notice that the only way that you haven't been from that area would be going to that tunnel system again. It appears to be going to the south.
Yep. So he's going to continue on going south.
You go for quite some ways, as it seems to be going deeper into the earth or whatever. As you go down some crude made stone stairs and stuff that's part of the earth mixture that has been dug out, and you continue down, and it appears that it veers back around and goes back to the west into a very large chamber itself. And in this chamber, this is what you will see. You see almost a natural light again. I mean, it's very dim. I mean, of course, but you see the floor and the walls are covered with all this white and green growth of this different fungi, pretty much like that other room, except these are all white and green kind of luminescence is coming off of it. and you see a bunch of the fungi that are on the ground itself in a pile, and it appears that there's 8 bodies that are lying on top of this fungi and stuff.
Or one of the body's girls. I mean, that one girl.
No, you don't see any small what you would think would be children. It appears all these are probably adult size.
Okay. Yeah, he leaves them alone, and yeah, I mean, as he go goes past them, he takes a look to see what killed him. If there's been, some violent uh,
Yeah, as you get
signs
closer,
of
maybe
struggle.
and and look at them, it appears that they were probably killed, with bladed weapons or whatever. But you notice a few of them that laying there. It appears like on part of their bodies, the fungi and stuff are growing into them, off of them. Now it appears like some of them maybe been there a little bit longer as they're decomposing. But it appears they were killed by natural ways. But as you continue on into that chamber and look around, you hear that gruff voice go, "You'll never leave this one alive, I promise you." And you look up, and this is what you see coming towards you. You see a human figure approaching you that is very decomposed, and you see these mushrooms and these fungi that are growing off of its arms and its body and its head, and it's moaning as it's moving straight towards you. You see one of them right now.
Okay. The direction of the voice that I heard earlier. Where's that coming from?
The you would think it's probably on further in from where you're at, and it appears like it's on further past where this figure is moving towards you, and maybe back towards the north.
Okay. Um, my character is gonna rush at this zombie thing. He's gonna get his cape around his mouth again, and with the shield on, in front of him, he's gonna rush towards this thing, and as he approaches him, try to push him out of the way with a shield dash, and
Yeah,
continue on. And, okay,
we'll just roll initiative then and see who goes first. It'll be fine. Oh man, he rolled pretty good.
I got 8.
He had 10. So as
Ooh,
you're rushing up with your cape to run your mouth, and you're getting your shield ready, maybe to just to run into this and knock him down. As you get closer, you see his mouth open, and then the rotted, crooked teeth, and you see this tongue come out, and you hear this as these spores come straight towards you. And make me a save, a standard 2d6 save.
come on, baby. Oh no. Nope, both fail.
Yeah, you start calling, even though you've got yourself protected, these spores just like a cloud of this gas just takes over you, and you start coughing and hacking and just go into this violent fit. And everything you do on your next turn will be at disadvantage. So
Oh
1d6,
no.
everything you do. You see him after he does that, as he reaches out with these clawed up hands and tries to rake these claws into you. And he is going to hit for 1 point of damage with a claw also.
Okay.
And it is your turn.
All right. Um, yeah, he's gonna actually. This guy moves pretty quickly. Yeah.
This zombie looking guy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it doesn't seem like he has much choice then. He's gonna turn around and slash at him with his sword.
All
So
right.
that's one d6, and I roll 6,
All right. You're able to hit him. So roll damage. See if you how much damage.
and 1 point of damage.
Yeah, you cut into him, and some of the fungi fall off of his body and stuff, and he's still standing.
Okay, I'm gonna go again, and I roll 1. That's a miserable failure.
All right. He is going to look at you and open the mouth again and try to breathe all these spores on you. So make a test, a 2d6, two standard 2d6.
I made it.
All right. You're able to get out of the way of those spores, but then he tries to rake you into a claw, and the claw's going to miss. He misses horribly.
Whew, okay. All right. Do I still have disadvantage?
No, you're back to normal now as you're able to fight some of the effects off.
Nice. He goes He spits out. It's like, yeah, that was nasty, but this will cost you. And he swings at him and strikes. So that's the first of action, and he does 2 points of damage.
Yeah, you do 2 points of damage to him, and when you slice him, you can tell me how you slice him up. He just cut him, and he falls down to the ground.
Yeah, as he expectorates and spins around and swings his sword, it decapitates that zombie.
Yep, and it just falls to the ground, not moving at all. And as you finish him, you don't hear that gruff voice anymore. I mean, you can hear the direction where it come from, but you do hear a noise coming from on further west. And maybe as you look that way, you hear this skittering and it's moving. And this is what you're going to see coming out of the west chamber, coming towards you. You see these two huge ant-looking figures that appear almost an ant body, and part of their upper body is almost a humanoid looking. Is there two of them moving straight towards you? One of them is armed with a spear, and the other one's not armed at all.
Um, he's gonna, go back there and grab the bucket that he left on the ground and bring it up there and says, "Here's an offering for you, my lord." And then he's gonna leave the bucket in front of him and run back, run back to the corridor that he came from.
Yeah, as you take the bucket up there, the one that's not armed with the spear, the one that just seems to be natural looking, runs up to the bucket and is looking at it, and smelling it and putting a pincher kind of in there. And the one with the spear walks up, and you hear it chitter chattering you, as you probably think they're speaking to one another. And you see the one with the spear take the bucket like on the end of his spear as he takes the bucket, and he moves back towards the west way they come, back towards the area from what you would think would be a tunnel they come from. And the one that's not armed, you hear it chitter chatter towards the one with the spear, and then it takes off behind it and follows it. It seems like we're going back down to this direction they come from.
He's gonna
And
look
at this
around.
point, at this point you kind of notice as you moved in a little bit further, you notice that there's a small tunnel, a smaller tunnel, kind of like the ones you've come down through. Is going back to the west, but you see another little area going back to the north. It appears to open up into a small room that you would think be part of the room of the complex itself.
Um, he's gonna go up north and he's gonna stick very close to the wall with his back to the wall, and he's gonna peer uh, into that chamber.
Yeah, as you look into this room, it appears to be maybe about a 10 by 10 area room. You see a couple wooden chests, and they're open up, and you see appears to be different type of things in there. Maybe a partial, some of it's kind of like fine looking clothing. You see a lot of it's just trinkets and different kind of jewelry and stuff that are piled up in there. And as you also look, you see opening up in the far north wall that appears to be some kind of doorway that's been open and left open. It doesn't appear to be a natural doorway or whatever. It appears maybe it was hidden, but it's been left open right now.
Okay. Does it seem like it was open recently?
Oh
Very
yeah, you can
recently?
tell. You can tell that it was whoever went through it in a hurry.
Okay. He's gonna give chase.
Yeah, and as you go through that doorway, you come back out, and the first thing you come back out and see is the tentacles of the large ant in the altar room, which you would think would have been the altar room where the three cultist bodies are. That's for the room you come back out into. You don't see or hear anything. Of course, you know the directions to go from there, but you've already been. So,
Yeah. He's gonna go up north, but he's gonna remember where he stepped on that little plate or something. And
yeah, roll me a roll me a. I'll give you advantage. Roll me 3d6 to make sure you don't step on a wrong plate.
all right, that's a success.
Yeah, you're able to maneuver your way through then, and not able to get fired, flamed again.
Yeah. So he's hoping that he's gonna find him, somewhere in that complex. But does he
Roll
hear
me
anything?
as you move back to the main room up there, probably the where you come in with the large brazier is in the room. Roll me a 2d6.
Ooh, that's a 5. Yep, that's a success.
You hear what you would think would be footfalls coming from back in the sewer system itself. Of course, you had no idea. Is it the city watch coming to help you, or is it somebody running away? But you definitely hear footfalls coming back from the sewer system.
Yeah, he goes up that direction.
All right, you get into the sewer system. Um, Roll me a 2d6.
5 and 3. Success.
Yeah, you hear noises coming back from the area, that you come from. Back what you would think the way you come from. And you see what appears to be torchlight and everything coming from that area, and you hear somebody go, "There's somebody up here, city. This is the city watch. Do not do anything."
Hey,
You
hey,
see several figures running that way.
don't be too rash. This is Sir H.P. Thacko. Hubert Pierpont Thacko, I mean. I was the one that freed the prisoners out of here, he says.
Yep, and as you get up there, you see a group of the city watch armed to the teeth, and of course they recognize you. As you do that, and is there any more? Is there any more? What else do we need to do? Did you release them all?
No, I got everybody that I could find out there to go and get you guys. But I saw a bunch of bodies this way, and what seems to be their leader fled. I couldn't find him. You guys go up this way, go around it. Be careful not to disturb the mushrooms, the fungi. And a couple of you guys follow me this way. And then he leads them down through that corridor where he had to step over a certain plate. He points out,
Yeah,
don't.
the pressure plate.
Yeah, and he says, don't step on that plate. Be careful. Otherwise, you're going to get singed. And this time he succeeds also.
Yep, y'all search the whole complex. No more of the large ant creatures come out. It appears that you appeased them enough for now with the bucket of honey. The bodies that are in that chamber, you would have think just by looking, you would think probably the bodies were killed and placed. Their remains were placed on there to just naturally decompose and probably maybe gave some sustenance to the ants themselves or whatever. There's some type of fungi farms. Um, you find no more cultists. You do not find the missing girl or the cult leader, but you do find a large clay of this greenish looking fluid that's in the room there where the large stone ant with the tentacles were. You find like a large, not I mean large, not quite as large as the honey pots, but this one's probably maybe a foot tall. It's a large clay pot of this greenish looking, almost watery looking fluid, but it's got a greenish tint to it.
Yeah,
The rest of the complex turns to be nothing. You don't find anything else. So
yeah, yeah. He explains, yeah, it's probably these cultists that's been kidnapping folks. But there were 60 people that went missing, and so far we found only about 9 folks so far. I don't know what happened to the rest of them. He goes back to that one room with the chests and you know other stuff.
yeah, as you searching those deals, it appears like what you would think and deduce that it's probably a bunch of stuff that was taken off the victims, as far as like just different trinkets, jewelry, maybe a few coinage, maybe even some of them had a small dagger or something. But you would think it's just personal effects from the victims.
Yeah, and he takes the folks and says, "All right, well, some of you guys can take this back to the City Watch Citadel. Um, I'd say we should really investigate this tunnel over here." And he points to the tunnel where those ant people disappeared to.
Yeah, where the two ants.
Yeah,
It's a tunnel that goes down, and like I say, it narrows down. In fact, when you get up close to it and look at it, you kind of wonder how they were very large. You'd think how they fit through there. It's probably a tight fit through them, but you can definitely tell that they've been dug, probably by these ant creatures or whatever. And you go along west for a little ways as you maneuver along west and follow these tunnels, and they just branch out into all these various different tunnels themselves that go in all different branches and different directions. I mean, you're talking about probably a good 7 or 8 different ways you could go.
Yeah.
Go.
No.
Well, can I play video games? Huh?
Come on, go. Hello?
Yeah, you very young? Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah. He said maybe we can get get some folks to smoke out these ants, but it doesn't seem like we'll be able to do that this time around.
Yep, and that pretty much will end the adventure known as Sweet and Sour. So, if you want to tell me how this story will end for HP, is he is able to get the reward of the 500 coins, and what else? How the story would end for HP?
Well, HP, hopefully, he doesn't take any of those belongings that he's found in the chests, but he's gonna have them all returned to the City Watch so that they could take the belongings back to the families of the fallen. And after that, he doesn't feel like the job is done because he couldn't help that kid. He couldn't help that girl. So he says, "Well, uh, what was his name? Sir Joeth. I think I'm gonna stick around a little bit, and I'll help out in cleaning up this mess. Let's get rid of these ant folks out of here." And then he's gonna stay in the town of Silver. What was it?
Silvergate. Yep.
Yeah, Silvergate, and help out as they continue to eradicate these ant folks, and stay vigilant for the return of that ant cult leader.
Yep, that sounds good. Once again, we played Tiny Dungeons, the Tiny Dungeon system by Alan Barr and Gallanite Games. The name of this adventure is actually called Cult of the Hive, and I am a member of the Patreon for Elvin Tower. That's where I got this from. It's kind of like a little 2-page brochure adventure that he did. And I went mostly by what it is. I changed up a few things, of course. We always do, but and base the adventure on. The story is going to end this way. As we go back, we'll start with these giant ants in their temple, their underground temple from many years ago. We go back to all these different passageways. And if you would have went on further, you would have found a colony of these giant ants, and you would see and found the rest of the townsfolk as they've been transformed into these fungi zombies. And you would see them moving around and doing things and almost working in a manner or whatever as we go into this very large giant ant colony that appears to have would take an army probably to lay siege to. Then we go back to the cult leader as he was able to sneak his way out and run through a side passageway knowing that he was fixing to be trapped by the city guard and by Sir HP. he was able to sneak out with the child and sneak through a passageway and get back to the city streets. We find him several months later as he's in another large city. And he has a child there, and the child's hair is grown out and its appearance changed. And he looks towards the child and he goes, "Oh, you will be perfect one day to take over the cult. I will not be here always, so one day I will need a new leader, and you seem to have the right things that are needed for that. We'll see where the path leads us next." And that will end the adventure known as Sweet and Sour.
Sweet.